nature. With over 4 decades of changing lives, your self-discovery archaeologist, get ready to be the best of you with your host, Beverly Zimet.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Beverly Zimet Show, where being the best you can be just got easier. My guest today is Linda Ann Stewart, and she's calling in from where?
Cottonwood, Arizona.
Cottonwood, Arizona. That's kind of over by Sedona, right?
It's very close to Sedona, yes.
Yeah. So how's the weather down there?
It's starting to warm up, and it's quite sunny now.
Yeah? That's awesome. That's awesome. I talked to a gal about an hour ago, actually, and she's in upstate New York, and they said snow tomorrow, and she's like, oh my gosh, not now. You know. So we've had some crazy weather, haven't we, over the last month, with earthquakes all over the place, and just like, what is
and
going on?
we've had a lot of rain here too, which is really lovely because we actually need it.
And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I got a lot of family and friends up in that Colorado area, and man, the ski lodges were definitely loving this winter because of the amount of snow that was in the mountains. And they'd probably still be going strong through May if we weren't socially distancing. Maybe they should just like open up the runs, right, and just put like one on a chute, you know, and then every 3 chairs put some. It was so funny. So I'm staying with a friend down here, Lynn, right? And so we went out to the store. We had to go get some things, and we went to one of the stores, and I was like, oh my gosh, you know, they're standing outside, you know, and they're all, well, supposedly 6 feet apart or whatever the case is, but they're only letting a certain amount of people in the store, right? And I'm like, wow. And we're down here outside of Farmington, you know, and just really kind of out in that country area and everything. So it's drifting into not just the big cities, it definitely is flourishing out into all areas, right?
We have we have several cases here in my county, and even in the Sedona Cottonwood area. The Flagstaff Hospital, which is just north of us by about 45 miles or so, 50 miles, they're at 60% capacity.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, I got a friend of mine who works in the hospitals down in Las Vegas. And she said right now they're like very, very low, almost minimum capacity. There's hardly anybody there.
Oh, wow.
Which
okay.
is, I guess, you
Amazing,
know, when you look at it
actually.
from one side, you know, to the other. But she told me, she said they're not doing any kind of surgeries or anything, you know. I would imagine if it was a dire necessity type thing, you know.
Oh, life-saving, yeah.
Or whatever, yeah. But, boy, I tell you.
No elective.
It's definitely made some changes in life, hasn't it?
It definitely has.
You know, and we talk about businesses and how this social distancing and the confinement and the toll and the shifting that it's taken on different businesses, and how we continue to get on with life and start getting really resourceful and creative. So Linda, how has all of this impacted your business and what you're doing, and what kind of changes have you had to make?
I actually, since I was I do a lot of my business virtually anyway. Not a lot of my business has changed.
Okay. That's
because
good.
I mean, as a vision strategist, I help women entrepreneurs and service professionals get their business on track, on course, to be able to align their heart with their vision and then set their vision up for success, to program it for success. And so I do this a lot through with virtual. So again, because I'm in a small town, my outreach is the world. So not a lot really has changed. The only thing that has changed is that I'm not actually going out and speaking at the present time in person.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's good to know. That's good to know. And now with people that have to shift, you know, how they're presenting their businesses and stuff,
Mhm.
and being a vision coach. Is that what you call
A
yourself?
vision strategist, yes.
Vision
Well, essentially
strategist.
helping people, helping especially women, create the right vision for them and then create the strategies to program it for success.
So now, even more than ever, because there isn't that interaction, you're not able to go out and network,
Mhm.
like most of us do, and interact and meet new people and things like that, right? Now your business should actually start booming, to help people to change that vision in
Mhm.
its not so much change the vision itself, but how you put that vision out to the world,
And
right?
you put that vision out to the world and also make it very, very clear, because the clearer the vision, the easier it is for it to come about, because you know then what steps you can take to
Right.
bring it about.
Right. So the strategy, so I guess your vision is like the big picture of everything.
It's the big picture. It's where you want to be and your why. Why do you want to do it? So it's your big picture of where you want to be in a year or 3 years down the road.
Mm-hmm.
It can actually be one that's 90 days down the road if you want a short-term vision.
Okay.
So it's knowing where you want to go and not just throwing spaghetti at the walls. And that's
Ooh, that's a
unfortunately
little
what a lot of,
messy, isn't it?
it's messy and it doesn't get you anywhere.
No,
I
it doesn't. It doesn't. Then you have to go clean it up. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. So, so now that you've got this big vision and they've got
Mhm.
that out there, so the strategy then comes into what, taking these pieces and put them in alignment to
Mhm.
reach that ultimate why, as you said, which is that big piece of the goal.
Yeah,
Is that
my
what you're?
system actually has 5 steps to it.
Oh,
And the
okay.
first thing is we talked about, which is clarity, figuring out what you want. A lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of service professionals don't really know what they want. They just know that they want to move forward. But they don't know exactly what that means. So we get
Sure.
clear on what that means. Then we work on their mindset to make sure, and this is their heart. I talk about aligning your heart with your vision. Well, your mindset is your heart, because it's what you are actually thinking within yourself about your business, about life in general, about yourself. So aligning your heart, your mindset with where you want to go, making sure that there aren't any beliefs that are sabotaging you, making sure that you think it's possible, all of those things. So the mindset is really, really important for where you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
And those two things have, clarity and mindset have to be in place before you actually move on to the vision, because that's when you decide, okay, what do I want and why do I want it? What is it going to give me? How am I going to feel? So what is the vision, and making that sure that that vision is clear, because you have to have that vision before you know what strategies to put in place.
Exactly. Exactly. It's odd that you say get some clarity in what you want,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then what was the second step? The
A
the
mindset.
mindset, right? So now
Mm-hmm.
that's your belief that you can have that clarity in what you want, and then put the vision there rather than having this big old vision, right,
Mm-hmm.
with nothing to, I guess, to bind it or to hold it or to,
Support it.
right, to support it. There, perfect, right? So I haven't heard it that put that way before in that order, but it does make sense, right? Get clear on what you want to do and why you want to do it,
Mm-hmm.
right, as an outcome, and then move into, the strategies later,
And
and that vision later, right?
yeah,
And so
yeah, the vision.
the
And then the
belief, that
strategies come
mindset.
into
Yeah.
place, making a plan. And when I work with my clients, I will actually we work from um, 3 years to present. So from the distance into the present. So where do you want to be in 3 years, 2 years, 1 year, 6 months? So making sure that each one of these strategies and the steps that they're taking is going to be actually be doable, that it's going to work for them, that they might, so that they're not biting off too much to chew, in other words.
Right.
Because we know of people who have these wonderful grand ideas, but it kind of falls apart as soon as they start implementing the strategies, because it's really too much. You know,
Right.
trying to have 16 different ways of marketing at one time, you can't do them all. You don't have the time.
Right.
So making sure that you have the things that it's scalable for them and it works for them. I mean, one person might be perfectly comfortable going out and speaking, and another person that would be like, what is it? The fear of speaking, public speaking is number
Right,
one.
they'd rather die than stand up there and speak. Right, exactly.
So making sure that the strategies are ones that are going to work for them.
Yeah. So do you find sometimes, when you're working in that mindset, that belief, that
Mm-hmm.
once you have the vision and now you're building strategies, do you find sometimes that belief maybe wasn't 100%, that you have to rewind some of that, right?
Exactly.
Because it's not believable. They want
That,
it to
and
be.
that's why I like to have the mindset first to make sure that it is believable. Is this really possible? Do you believe this is possible?
So is that why
And
you start like 3 years out to work backwards versus
that's
just
one reason, is to see where do you want to go. Okay, are you trying to do too much in 3 years?
right?
For instance, I want to build $1 million business within 3 years. Well, that's possible, but it's not probable.
And is it believable? So if you're sitting here now in scarcity, from paycheck to paycheck, right? To say in 3 years you're going to be a millionaire.
Yeah.
I don't want to blow anybody's bubble. However, there has to be, like you said, a shift here in the mindset to believe that you are really worthy and deserving of that. And what are you willing to do to take those steps to get there? And to really get that clarity, we go back into that, right? That clarity and understanding. And what are your blocks that prevent you from reaching that, right?
Exactly. Because the mindset, it will, if you don't have the mindset in place, then you're probably not going to be taking the steps that are necessary. You're going to procrastinate. You're going to find all sorts of reasons. You're going to play on your phone. You're going to play on Facebook, all of those other things, and not really realize that part of the reason is that your mindset isn't there.
Right.
And so making sure that, getting clear that the mindset is appropriate, so that it will support your endeavor. It will support you.
It'll drive you instead of destroy you.
Yeah, and making sure you have the motivation. This comes from, I've been a hypnotherapist for 30 years. And I found out that when a person would come in to see me for something, let's say to quit smoking, they could quit smoking, that would be their goal. And they do it just fine. But then 6 months down the road, they'd start smoking again. And I discovered very early on that if they didn't have the vision of where they actually wanted to be with it and why they wanted it, where they wanted to be, let's say in a year or 2 years or 3 years down the road, then they were going to backslide, because the subconscious mind is a very, very interesting little critter.
Yes.
And it essentially says, oh, we quit smoking. Cool. Let's start smoking again.
Well, I think we have a little technical difficulty here. Okay, you're back.
Yes, okay. Yeah, my internet connection was unstable. It's part of the process of living in rural Arizona, unfortunately.
Well, and there's so many people out there now on it, sucking up all that, but we move through that, right?
Yes.
And go beyond it. Yeah, so it's interesting, too, when you talk about, the clarity of the mindset and all of that, regardless if it's what it entails, if it's business or personal life, because that still has to fit into everything. And what I've noticed with entrepreneurs and people, I want to have my own business. They have this crazy idea of what being in business for yourself really is, but it takes discipline.
It does.
Right.
And one of the things that I talk about is that just wanting to be your own boss is not motivation enough to have your own
No,
business.
it's not. It's not. And working from home, and I think this might be one of the biggest challenges that a lot of people have right now because we're forced into that.
Hmm.
And you're going to find things out about yourself that you probably didn't know, right? So you're still clocking in for work, shall we say, but the environment is different.
Oh yeah,
So,
absolutely.
so when you're at home, you do things at home things, right? You turn the TV on, you go over here and you mess around, you do whatever, right? Like on your days off. Well, this isn't 7 days off
Hmm.
if you happen to have a position where now you can work from home. It's taking that discipline and having that belief and that mindset that, hey, you know what? I start work. I punch the clock at 8. At 8 o'clock. I
Hmm.
might not be over here in this little cubicle,
You're right.
but I'm here, and so you've got to, just kind of take out that world that's around you, and move yourself into that space mentally and
Yeah.
physically, and to go in there. And other members in the household need to understand that, hey, mom's working or dad's working. Just because I'm not driving to the office doesn't mean I'm not working. So we all have to kind of buckle down here
Hmm.
and respect each other's space and time, right? And so you've
Exactly.
got to be disciplined to do
Hmm.
that. And when we've never been in that type of position before, that can be a real challenge because it's so easy to get up, not walk down the hall to go to the
Hmm.
bathroom and grab a cup of coffee at work and go back into your little cubicle, right? You have
Right.
your surroundings that are all familiar when you take a little break to do whatever, and you can get lost in that, right?
Hmm.
Hey, Dad, hey, Mom, oh, can you do this with me first? Can you help me with this, right? And, dads are probably a little more stricter, but women, especially if we have children,
We're
and
caregivers.
caregivers, and we take care of the house, and so
Hmm.
we walk out and it's like, oh man, there's a load of laundry. I need to throw that laundry in, right?
And that actually is a great point because it leads to the next step of my system,
Uh huh.
which is priorities.
There you go.
Not just prioritizing your business, prioritizing your steps, but also making sure that you prioritize yourself and what you want and what you need, and essentially so that you're not putting everybody else's wants.
First. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, because I will generally say there's a difference between a need and a want.
Oh
A
gosh.
lot of
Yeah.
people will put other people's wants before their own needs.
Mm-hmm.
And so
So
you
true.
need, that's one of the things that I work with clients about is putting their needs first, letting other people take care of their own wants, which is hard for women especially.
Oh gosh. For sure. For sure.
Huge. But having to be able to do that, so to prioritize yourself, this again, that with your work, your business is your business, and being able to prioritize. Okay, well, my kid wants me to bake 60 cupcakes and just told me today that it needed to be done, and I have a deadline tomorrow.
Right.
It's like you might have to learn how to say no.
Right.
And that's one of the things that I help with my clients is to prioritize themselves, to prioritize their business above what other people's wants are.
Right.
So
And
that yeah.
yeah, and that can be challenging, especially too. So if you are starting a business, kudos.
Yeah.
But if you want other people to take you serious about your business, then you need to first be serious about your business. You need to treat
Exactly.
it like a business and not like a hobby, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Right?
exactly. Because it all comes from you. I mean, life treats you the way you treat yourself.
Yes.
And if you're not treating yourself and your business as if it's important
Mm-hmm.
and communicating that to other people and letting them to take advantage of you, then that you're going to have a hard time moving forward with it.
Right. Right. Exactly. Exactly. And sometimes that can really be a tough challenge, and it's hard sometimes, for spouses to support their spouse,
Mm-hmm.
especially if it's a side deal, right? And you're trying to get things started because you want to break out of that, right?
Yes.
And women usually find themselves more supportive to the man versus, the other way
Mm-hmm.
around, right? And then that is a belief that comes from a culture, comes from ancient times, where this is what the male did, this is what the female did. We are not in that
Roles.
kind of
Yeah.
living anymore, right?
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
it's in that genetic, and it still kind of likes to play out
Mm-hmm.
unconsciously, right?
Yeah. A lot of people will fall into those roles. Um, yeah. Whether they get into a relationship that's not codified,
Right?
or they get married, and they might be fine. I've known of people who were fine for years as boyfriend girlfriend living together, but as soon as they got married, they started to
Everything changed.
yeah, and
Yeah.
this split the roles, and the relationship breaks up.
hmm Yeah, I've
So
seen that too. I mean, oh my gosh, I had some close friends for like 15 years, and they had lived together, and they decided for whatever reason that they were going to sign that little piece of paper. 6 months later, they weren't even talking to each other. They were divorced, and it ended that relationship
yeah,
because of just signing that little piece of paper. So it's amazing how sometimes that can impact us, the smallest things. And again, I
mindset.
believe that it goes back into, yes, belief systems and whatever, right?
Mhm.
And it's like,
Exactly.
oh, well, now I can control you, right? It's like, well, I don't think so. Right? So again, and it's having those open lines of communication, right?
Yes,
And
and clear and open, and there's another word I'm looking for. It's honest.
yes, honest, that's right.
Honest.
Yeah. Right, and being able to trust the others'
Exactly.
choices, right? Their choices,
Mhm.
and to work with them and give them the benefit of the doubt, right? Because they're
Yes.
not doing this for themselves, but
Hmm.
they are, but they aren't. They're also doing this for the whole of the family unit, right? And they're
Exactly. Yeah.
trying to fulfill themselves, and their passion, So being a mom is hard work.
Huge.
It's hard work, right? And then when you're trying to juggle business at the same time, whether you're a single parent or not, doesn't matter. And if you're working your little side hustle along with your 9 to 5, because you want to work out of that 9 to 5 and make this better, it can be challenging, especially when there's children there.
Yeah.
And to have those open lines of communication, and to explain and share with them those 5 steps that you just mentioned.
But
Make
actually, I
this a family
share
affair.
4. I've got
Oh,
one
for
more.
one more left. So, but to be able to share that with them,
Yes.
because they are a part of that, right? Let's pull
Exactly.
together what that dream is, and then listen to what their dreams are. But oh, mom, what if? What if? It's like, yeah, what if? It can actually put more clarity in your dream, possibly, and
Hmm.
more drive to get there. And if the kids know that it's only going to be for this short time, and the
Yeah.
more help that they put into it, then everyone is
Hmm.
going to benefit even sooner. And
Yes.
now it's a team effort, and you're not fighting against anything, right? And that energy becomes synergistic.
Right. And you also teach children when you're doing this, you teach them that by holding yourself as important, you're teaching them to hold their
Right?
needs as important as well, rather than shunting them aside to let somebody else take advantage of them. So
Right.
you're modeling for the children.
Right. And that discipline is needed.
Yeah.
Discipline is not punishment, and I think that's a fine
Authority,
line.
authoritarianism. Yeah, I know it's not.
Yeah. No, it's completely not even in the same library when
No,
you start to
no.
understand what that's all about. And it doesn't matter how young that child is. The younger you can get them into this mindset, right?
Hmm.
The better they're going to be once they start to get out into it. And that will overflow into their relationships,
Hmm.
right?
Oh, yeah.
And
You,
into their
yeah.
studies, how they respond in school, right? And then they start getting that part-time job. All of these things are going to impact that. And the younger you can start them with, the better, because it shows
Absolutely.
responsibility, right? And
Mm-hmm.
to work into that. And I think now, being in the situation that's going on, is we have kids that are home that have never really had the interaction, that parental interaction.
And not as much anyway,
And
because everybody's off kind of doing their own things for the
right.
most part.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
mom's over here working, dad's over here working, the kids are in school. Now we all
Mm-hmm.
come home, and
And
it's
everybody's on their phone or on the computer. Yeah.
hustle, 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 to finish up if they have homework or do whatever, watch their favorite TV show,
Or
have
go
that
off
beer,
to
make dinner, and
sports.
head to bed,
Yeah.
right? So the time that's here now, and being around each other for an extended period of time, you're going to get to know that person completely different. And you can do it one of two ways. You
Mm-hmm.
can do it in harmony, or you can do it in disharmony. That's
Right.
your choice, because it's not going to go away in another day or two, right? From the sounds of it, we're in this for the duration here,
For
at
a
least
while.
probably till the end of the month, and we've already been in it for a couple of weeks, right? So
Yeah.
what are we going to do? How do we make the best of the situation, and how can we all come out of this
Mm-hmm.
better people? And that's why I kind of wanted to start this show and have that theme being that better you, because no matter what it is that you do, it's all about becoming better and better and better. And the way you
Exactly.
become better is to know what's going on in your surroundings and be open and aware, right?
And also when you are with you, when you have your own business, I mean, when you are working for somebody else, it happens as well. But when you are in your own business, your personal development is imperative, because
Oh
it will
yeah.
then reflect in your business.
Yes.
And when you're working for other people, personal development is important, but it kind of is exponential when you have your own business. Because again, the way you treat yourself is the way life treats you. And learning how to develop yourself and become a better person, to become a better you, to be more effective, to use your strengths, to be able to work with them, that when you have your own business is absolutely imperative, or else you're going to have a hard time.
Exactly. Right. Right. And that also, when we went into that belief system and that trust and whatever, and it's your integrity. Do you
Yes.
function in integrity? Because it's going to show in your personality, it's going to show
Mm-hmm.
in your voice, in
Mm-hmm.
how you dress, how you come across. Your confidence
Mm-hmm.
level is going to be impacted by all of that. It's in body language speaks, you know,
Yes.
and when you're looking at what's going on right here, you know, we're visual out there.
They
So,
have actually found, and we're talking about mindset a little bit again, studies have found that optimistic salespeople actually sell 20% more than those who are less optimistic.
uh-huh.
So again, having that mindset, personal development, paying attention to what you're thinking, paying attention to what you're feeling, making sure that all of these things are in alignment
Hmm.
for with your vision is really vital, absolutely vital.
And again, that clarity when you first started, as to what it is, who is that ideal avatar, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how do you reach that? It's like selling, right? I mean, you
Mm-hmm.
can't sell steak to a vegetarian. Ain't gonna happen,
Right,
right?
right.
So when you know your audience out there, but also know, the personality of that audience,
Mm-hmm.
right? As to how do they want to be sold. Some people want to have that little nurturing and all the explanations and going on and on. They want the science behind it, whatever. And other people say, you got 5 minutes. What you got? Tell me what
Mm-hmm.
it is, what's it going to do for me, and why I need it, and what's it going to cost, right?
Yeah.
But don't go off in that. If they're asking you for that, don't go off in this whole nurturing story and the sign. They don't give a rest. They're going to kick your little butt right out the door,
Yep.
right? So knowing who it is that you're speaking to
Mm-hmm.
and what their needs are, and that's why you have two ears
Mm-hmm.
to
Yes.
listen. And body language will tell you more than verbal will actually tell you. So you have 2 eyes to see, you have 2 ears to
Mm-hmm.
hear, you have 1 mouth to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get the chance to speak, you better know what you saw and what you heard, and don't interpret what you think they know what they want.
Well,
Listen.
that's why they say that sales now is more about asking questions than about anything else.
Yeah, yeah. Find out find out what that person wants and then give it to them. And
Yeah.
give it to them in a manner better than the last one did. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right?
So,
Yeah.
so yeah, and mindset, again, so very important. It's more important than education and skills and strategies and actions, having your vision, creating those strategies that you know that you're going to follow through on.
Mm-hmm.
That's so easy, like taking mini steps. I would always tell my clients, take mini steps, baby steps every single day, so that something is really, really easy to do. Because yes, you may not get there in a week, but you might get, but you, by taking baby steps, you'll get there in a month, and it will be assured that you will get there in a month.
Right. Because if you think you have to take all these big steps, what's
Yeah.
going to happen is you're not going to take any steps.
It's,
And
it's
then,
too big for the mind to
right.
encompass. And that's why when I work with clients, I also have them do like 90-day increments of their plan, not for the whole 3 years, but for the 90 days. What's good? What are you going to do in the next 90 days? Because the subconscious really can't encompass, can't think of, can't accept anything longer than 90 days. Anything beyond that, and it's just kind of like that's nice. That's way off in the distance.
Right.
But 90 days is more immediate. So making sure that they've got a 90-day plan that they know that they can implement.
Implement. Now that's the key word.
Yes,
Implement. You
exactly.
know,
Implement.
all the knowledge in the world serves no purpose
Mm-hmm.
unless you implement.
Unless you implement.
Right?
And then the last step of my program is to focus on their next step, to keep you on track. It's with the priorities, it's also very, very easy to get sidetracked, like we were talking about with the kids and so forth. So making it a priority, and then staying on track, staying on course, keeping that vision in front of you, keeping the steps in front of you. I was talking with a woman who had gone to a workshop, very short workshop, on how to create your vision that she got really excited about.
Mm-hmm.
And she came home. Unfortunately, she stuck it in the drawer thinking she'd be able to keep it in mind.
Sure.
And then life happened.
As it
And
does.
exactly. Life took her off in another direction, a direction she didn't particularly want to go. And until we were talking, she didn't remember that original vision. And so she pulled it out and started acting on it again. So you have to keep it right, keep yourself focused on it. And in my hypnotherapy practice, that's what I did with the hypnosis, was I would help my clients stay focused on what their goal and their vision was. So you don't necessarily need hypnotherapy to keep you focused on where you want to go, because all hypnosis is focusing the attention.
Exactly.
So
taking you into that, right? Yeah.
Exactly. So what happens with your attention? You stay focused on it. Action follows your attention.
True. That's a great statement. Action follows intention.
Keep the attention on the intention.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
when you go back to the very first step, clarity, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is your why, which is your intention, to zero it down into that little spot and focus on that. So now you're at both ends of the spectrum. Let's talk for a minute with focus. And what focus means, and you're talking about baby steps, right?
Yes.
If you look at a child that's starting to walk, and now they're standing on their own, and they're a little wobbly, right? And where's their focus? Their focus is what? Making sure that they don't fall down, right? So you have to look at yourself coming into a business that way. Here you are, the foundation isn't 100% there yet. It's a little shaky, right? And then what happens, they move that one foot right? Now they're like this. They didn't just take off running,
Exactly.
right? They took that one step, and they're waddling a little bit, and then they're focusing. They're so focusing, and boom, the other step goes up, and everybody's yay, right? You know,
And if the child falls, they learn from that,
and they get
and it
right back.
actually exactly, and they have already strengthened their muscles,
Right.
so they're able to get back up and take what they've learned and put it into practice.
Right, and they keep
So,
on going, right?
mhm,
And we as parents here, what do? We give them the recognition, but
mhm,
we also give them the support,
mhm.
not to give up. Okay, let's do it again. Let's do it again, right? And so
Yep.
you're giving them encouragement, and we need that just as much as adults as we do as children,
What's
right?
interesting is that every time we achieve something small, some small goal, very small, it could be minuscule,
Mm-hmm.
it actually lights up the brain's reward circuit. The
Yeah,
brain loves it. So when you check something off of your list, it makes you feel good. You get this dump of pleasure chemicals. The problem is if all of those little goals aren't lining up to take you in a particular direction,
right.
because it doesn't matter. You could have goals that don't relate to each other at all, but you enjoy that pleasure that you get so much, that reward, that you'll make sure that you have all of these wonderful things to do. And that's one reason why a lot of people multitask. It feels good to go over here and over there and up there and over here, and I'll keep all of these things going at one time, because you get this rush of
Feel
pleasure
good
doing
energy, right?
that.
Yeah.
But usually multitasking is actually a falsehood. It's a myth for being good for productivity. It's actually the opposite of productivity.
Because you're not staying in alignment to
You're
go from point
not
A to point B, right?
exactly, you're not staying focused on making sure that you're going in a particular direction. You're just all over the map because you're enjoying
The
those
feel good juices running.
exactly getting juiced up from it. So
Right,
yeah, exactly, and that's why focus is actually there's a Brian Tracy. He's a well-known sales trainer,
right.
author, and speaker. He says that the most important skill for success is focus.
Makes sense. It makes sense.
It,
And again, we put that focus back into with discipline, right?
yes.
So if you're working from home now, right, and you're not used to that, or if you're looking to start your business, your entrepreneurship, is maintaining that focus and then being disciplined with it, being persistent and consistent,
Exactly. Yes.
right? They all work together. They all have their purpose
Mm-hmm.
in that alignment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it's knowing what steps you need to take and the
Mm-hmm.
order in which you need to take them. It's like walking upstairs. You're not going to step on step number 1 and then go to step number 4, unless you're just giant and you got these long legs, right?
Or you want to jump,
Yeah.
but the problem is if you keep trying to do that, you get really tired after a few
You
steps.
do, and what if you miss the step? Boom, you're going down for the count, right? That doesn't feel good. Because I guarantee you what universe will do, what the law is, right? When you're in this process, because it is a process, right?
Oh
Is
yeah.
what's going to happen is it will knock you back down to the step that you missed. So you
Mm-hmm.
might as well just do it in the order it needs to do, so you don't have to go back and repeat it.
Mm-hmm.
So be easy on yourself. Just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. Don't think you're better than that, because if you miss it, you'll have to go back to it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you will be missing something very, very important, not only
Right.
for your business, some learning that you need for your business, but some learning you need for yourself as well.
Exactly.
Something to develop yourself to become your best self.
Right. And maybe you don't recognize the relevancy. Don't question it. Don't let that little doubt thing get in there. Don't let the ego step in and say, I don't need that. I'm past it. I know that. No.
There's
Let's
always more to
do
learn.
this step, right? And right now it doesn't look like it. should be, but there's a guarantee when you get a few more steps down the road, you're going to say, it's a good thing I did that.
Exactly. You immediately, you may not recognize it, but as you are further down, like you said, it was like, oh, that's why I had to take that
Exactly,
step.
because it doesn't have to make sense.
Mm-hmm. Immediately.
That's right. But eventually it will. Just do it.
Yeah.
Trust the step. Trust what it is, right? There are certain things that have to happen to make the outcome what you want.
And a lot of times the blocks that we have, the ways that we sabotage ourselves, or the ways that it seems that the environment is blocking us.
Yes.
That's essentially those are lessons we need to learn for down the road.
Right.
You know, every time that we fail, or every time that we have a setback, there's something there that we need to learn, that we're going to need further down the road.
Yeah, because if you needed it once, you're going to need it again, right?
Yes.
And so when something like that comes up, it's time for you to think and say, okay, where did I miss that step along the way? Was it when I was working over here for somebody else? Or was it when I was 10 years old? Or was it just last week?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, just bite the bullet and do it. It's not that tough.
And don't necessarily resist the setbacks, because the more you resist something, well, no, because the more you resist them, the more they persist.
Right?
Accept them and look for the lesson.
Exactly. That's great. That's a great tip.
Taught you. Because then you can figure out from that lesson, okay, this is the lesson. How am I going to use this in the future?
So that I don't repeat it?
Exactly. Exactly.
Right. And that's part of that learning process, and that's part of becoming that better you every single day, when you can recognize all these little things that are building up to just to let you shine, to really come into your full power. Now, once you get into that, it doesn't stop there. It just keeps getting better and better and bigger and better and bigger, right? Because there's always room, and you said it best here a few minutes ago, there's always room for more. More learning, more everything, right?
Yeah, because it's just like, going up in a site. Yeah.
Try to run up a spiral staircase and skip steps. Not so good. When you slip once or twice and you hit those shin bones, I don't think you'll do it again. Right?
It hurts. Yeah, exactly.
And so sometimes, when we do stumble and fall in business, it hurts. It really hurts, because you beat yourself up thinking, oh man, I thought I was so past that, right?
But there's a reason for it.
There's a reason for it. There is. And
that's why I said not to resist it.
Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and say, next.
Right. And that's one of the things I also work with my clients about, is any resistance they might have to their vision.
To get that out of the way right away. Right?
Yeah, to their vision, and realize that the setbacks are not setbacks. They're there to help you move forward.
Exactly. So when we struggle, we need to take a look to it. What is it that in that struggle? Why are we having such a struggle with this? Where's the lesson here? Where in our past, where in some other event took place that belief system that it has to be hard?
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be complicated. And easy and simple are two different words.
It definitely are.
Right? So things that are simple ain't always easy. Right?
And vice versa.
Yeah. But rather than stepping into making it a struggle, that it has to be hard, because if you don't work hard, you're never going to get it. It's kind of a false belief, and I think we've all heard that probably as kids. If you don't work hard and put your nose to the grindstone, you're never going to amount to anything, blah, 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 right? It's like, whoop, we got to change that belief. And that's part of that genetic thing that has been so instilled, in that belief structure, in your genes, in your
Yeah.
cell memory. And that can be changed for the generations to come if you do the work clearing it here, right?
Right. Right. Yeah. And the idea of having to struggle, you have to struggle if you're going to make anything of yourself, or you have to struggle to prove to others that you deserve it, or that you prove to yourself that you deserve it.
Right.
And that's not
That's really not the
necessary.
truth.
No.
So a lot of those old false beliefs that we have that have been coming up, and now we can ask questions. I mean, I can remember back when I was a kid, it's not for you to ask, it's for you to do. But why? Kids are this good why is, but why? And it's because I said so. Well, back then when you heard because I said so, you did it, right? But now it's a whole different ball game, and again, it's that open line of communication and honor and respect, and having options and teaching those different things, from little on up, as to what that why is. If you don't know your why, then every time you make an action, ask yourself, why did I respond this way?
Yeah.
Right? Why did I do it like that? Why do I keep repeating the same thing? Ask those whys out loud.
Exactly.
Out loud.
Exactly.
And then now you're recognizing there's an issue.
Mm-hmm.
And what can you
I
do?
usually call it, there's a difference between reacting and responding.
Oh, gosh.
Reacting is acting the same way over and over and over again, unconsciously, knee-jerk reaction, and that you're never going to get anything different if that's the way that's your pattern.
Mm-hmm.
But if you respond, then what you're doing is you're taking you're looking at it consciously, you're thinking it through, you are asking the questions that you just said. Why am I doing this? What's going on? What's happening that's prompting this? When you ask those questions to try and figure out what the answer is, then you can decide, how do I want to respond to this situation? What's the best way for my best self, for me to be authentic? How can I respond to this situation in the best way possible?
And that way you become unpredictable instead of predictable, right?
True.
People like to push buttons. They know how they can get you to react. They know how they can get you to do what they want them to do through manipulation and everything, because you are predictable.
Mm-hmm.
You want to have fun? Become unpredictable.
Yeah.
Right? And make it a game. Make it a game. You become totally unpredictable and just make a comment. Do something as far removed as you can get from the situation.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, do you like riding horses? And you're in a discussion about something else, that they're trying to take serious because they want you to do something for them, right? And they want you to feel guilty, so to speak, and so then the scenario plays. So as they're doing this, just out of nowhere, say, "Do you like riding horses?" And they're gonna like, "What? What?"
Well, actually, that's actually a causes a break in the pattern. It's called a pattern interruption.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's one way that when somebody's trying to get you
to do
upset,
something you don't want to do, or upset,
or do that, upset you, or manipulate you, if you break that, you change the subject to something completely different. It actually flips their brain,
right.
And it breaks their train of what they're trying to do, and all of a sudden you're in control.
Exactly.
Rather than them.
Exactly. And when you can start to make light of it and make a game out of it, you'll find that life gets easier. You won't find yourself having to do any kind of damage control because you said yes when you wanted to say no, right? And then you have to come up with some kind of excuse, which is nothing more than a lie, and then you try to avoid that person. It's just a whole snowball of things that don't have to be. But it's to recognize, because these are personality traits, these habits, they become those personality traits. And again, they're predictable because they run on autopilot.
That's exactly it.
right? So be a disruptor. Break
Hmm.
those patterns. Get yourself in charge, right? And
Right.
make a difference in your life. Because
Hmm.
when you make a difference in your life, you make
You
a
make a
difference in the
difference.
world.
Exactly.
Right? Right?
Exactly.
Right. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, Linda, this has been so much fun.
I've
So,
enjoyed it.
run through those 5 steps real quick, and I'm going to go ahead and put your little
Okay.
plaque up there so people know how to reach you. And
Okay.
so, go through your little steps again real quick.
My clarity, mindset, strategic vision, priorities, and focus. Those are my 5 steps, and I work with people one on one. With starting off with a one-on-one full day retreat, but I also have a workshop, a virtual workshop where I go through all of these and help people go through to so they're able to set their business up for success. Essentially, I call it programming their business for success, because when you proactively decide what you're doing and where you want to go and how you're going to stick to it and stay on course,
All right.
and you do the follow up one step at a time, you are programming your business for success.
Right.
And so that's the way I work with clients, whether it's on a one on one basis or in a group.
It's powerful. That is so powerful, right?
Yeah.
And the whole key here is to make the change, recognize that you want to, and again,
Hmm.
it's where's your commitment with yourself,
Exactly.
because it all has to begin here,
Yes,
right?
it has to begin
Yeah.
right where you are.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. And ask yourself, am I committed to me,
Hmm.
or am I committed to letting others be the me they want me to be?
Yes,
Right. Right.
exactly.
It's okay to be you,
Hmm.
right? In every aspect of your life. Now it's time for you to step up to the plate, step out of that comfort zone, and start becoming you, that best you that you can be. And I hope you guys enjoyed this little conversation today and got some good, little nuggets out of here. My gosh, it was so powerful. All these little steps that you're talking about and the necessity and the order in which you put them was like, wow, so different. I find that fascinating, right? Because usually they say, get your vision first, right? It's like, she says, oh no, don't get your vision. That's 3 steps down the road. It's like, that kind of does make sense, right? So again, it's perspective and what's going to work for you. And
Hmm.
Linda has had a lot of years of experience, and let her take you on that journey. Give her a shot. What the heck? You never know. Yeah. And again, it's who you resonate with. Know the personality of the person you're reaching out, right? And let them know your personality and let them know what you want. Because if you're not honest and open
Hmm.
with the person you're looking to come into your life for assistance and direction,
Hmm.
you're doing yourself an injustice and you're
Yeah,
doing them an injustice, right?
absolutely.
There's billions of people in the world. You don't have to spend your life trying to search out one. All you need to do is know what it is that you want. Get clear in what you want. And
Hmm.
that's step number one, right? So get clear
Yeah.
in what you want. And that teacher will appear,
Hmm.
right? That teacher will appear for you. And that's universal law, right?
Yeah.
So when you understand universal law, life gets easier. So do you have any little tip or word of advice that you'd like to just leave the audience with today?
Um, well, making sure you have your vision, writing down the steps, and one thing about focus, shut for about 2 hours every day, shut off all of your devices and focus in on one area that you want to deal with, one project, one maybe that's when you do your phone calls, but for 2 hours a day, shutting out everything else except what you want to focus on in that period.
Good
That
advice.
would be a big one.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter whether it's your personal life or your business life, right?
Exactly.
And take that
Exactly.
time for you, because when you're in that 2 hour shutdown time, you're focusing on you, your business, your personal life, and what it is that you're going to gain when you step out of it. That is a great way to start looking at how you can become that better you, right? So we are calling this a show today. Thank you again so much, Linda. We're going to have you on again and pick up where we left off here and give some more great tips out there, right?
Well, thank you so much for having me. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Great. So go out there and be that best you that you can be, because what? Linda and I are going to be the best we that we can be. We'll see you all on the next show.